Aloha. Hey, it's Julie Ziemelis, 365 Hawaii and 365 Hawaii Living. And I'm with Real Broker. And I am here today to say, woohoo, we are coming to you as our first TTT, our island mortgage and real estate update for the new year in 2024. And we have a group of amazing human beings to give you guys some information about what's happening around the island with real estate and mortgage. I'm going to introduce you guys real quick to Lance Owens, LUVA Real Estate. Give a little wave there, Lance.
Hey,
Delaney
aloha, guys.
with Real Broker, and she's right there. And then we have Andy Madrid with KW Big Island. And we have Joe Eagan with Win and Eagan Team, and he's our mortgage person. We have Eric Ziemelis with Real Broker. And we may have one or two more realtors show up today. We'll see what happens. So right now we will start from Kona going around the island. So we are going to have Lance talk about West Hawaii statistics, and Delaney is going to be giving us a neighborhood specific update. And then we'll go to Andy with South Hawaii, and then we'll do the mortgage up. Oh, then we'll do Eric, who's going to give the east side numbers, and then we'll have the mortgage update. So let's start with Lance. Lance, what's going on in West Hawaii?
Hey, thanks, Julie. A couple of things. I know we had a conversation today because we had someone post a comment, I guess, recently that talked a little bit about median price. And, remember, half the homes sold for over that and half of them under it. So it was interesting. I just ran some quick numbers. We know the median price for the year ended up coming in at 1,076, 1,076,000 is what we came in for the median price for the year. So I ran from a million to actually, I'm sorry, it was 1.160. That was 1.160. So I ran from a million to 1.3 million to kind of see what was the average square footage, what was the average bedrooms, what was going on, is that truly a median home? So, and I was actually a little bit surprised. So here we go. The average living area on those homes that sold in that price point is 2,128 square feet. So there was 56 homes that sold in that price point, and 30 of them were 3 bedrooms, 18 of them were 4 bedrooms, and 4 of them were actually 5 bedrooms. So I thought that was some interesting numbers, because a median home here is not 2,100 square feet. That's not what we're seeing for an average. And I know a lot of our buyers are buying smaller than that typically. So
I wonder if you could do a median on the square footage. You know what I mean? Find out what does an 1,800 square, 1,600 square foot house. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we can run that next month. I'll look at that number. We'll run
there you
that
go.
out.
That might give people a little bit of hope if they're thinking that 1.3 might be a little steep for their budget.
Yeah, no, that's good. We'll have these little tidbits every month. So that was my little tidbits. Yeah, the median price for condos, just real quick, for year to date was 552 versus 550 a year ago. So condo market's been flat. Homes are up 7.8%.
7.8%. Okay. And then in terms of activity, are you getting phone calls?
Not a lot, no. By the seat of the pants, it's a little bit slow right now.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I'm seeing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Numbers. Go ahead.
Yeah. So
No, go ahead.
The number of sales month over month of what happened from last month in December.
So you want to do year to date, just so since we had a full year there?
Yeah, well, you got 3 weeks.
No, I'm sorry, I meant last year for
last
the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the year last year there was North Kona 470 homes sold the prior year, and in 2023 357. So a 24% drop in the number of homes sold.
And that's an inventory problem, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah. The same thing. People don't want to sell, and people don't want to buy at the high rate, and people don't want to sell at the high rate. So it's kept our inventory down, and that's why our median price has stayed up.
Yeah.
And we got the same thing going on with condos. 421 for 22, and for 23 we had 322. So a 23% drop there.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Well, but just as an aside, last week when we were at the Realtor broker meeting, 14 houses were on Broker Open, and then this week 14 houses were on Broker Open, and I think that sellers are starting to sell. which, you know,
Yeah.
it's more inventory. on the
Inventory is
market.
coming on.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's good.
Yeah.
Delania, give us some information about what's going on with the individual neighborhoods that you're tracking.
Alrighty. So we're going to start in Kohala Estates, and all three of the neighborhoods, there hasn't been much activity. This is covering November, December, which is kind of normal because around the holidays things slow down a little bit. Currently, there is one active listing in Kohala Estates. It's been on 6 days. It's listed at $1,079,000. 3 of them are under contract. Those are listed between $879,000 and $1,098,000. Days on market, 4 months. Sorry, one's been on the market 4 days. 4 months on the market. They had a price change. The other one was on the market 3 days, and the one right in the middle of the price was on the market 3 weeks. So kind of a stretch between 3 days on the market, and that was the highest priced one that was on the market 3 days, and then the other ones 3 weeks and 4 months before they went under contract, and 2 of those had price changes. November and December sales, there were 2. One was listed for $830,000, sold for $830,000. It was listed for backtrack. It was listed for $835,000, sold for $830,000. It was only on the market 6 days, so they just did a really quick price reduction on that for the sale. The other one was listed for $1,025,000. They dropped the price to $995,000, and then it sold for $955,000. Only on the market 12 days, but they really came down from their original price point, so they were obviously super motivated.
Yeah.
This neighborhood keeps ticking up. I mean, not huge leaps in prices, but I think, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, we weren't seeing very much over $1 million. It was like, kind of surprising. And now they're at least starting over $1 million, and some are starting to sell over $1 million. So definitely doing well in Kohala Estates. Next one we're going to look at is Leilani condos, both 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom condo units. There's one active listing. It's at $489,000. It's been on the market 139 days. No price reductions at all. So they're just kind of sitting, holding out for their price. There's 2 under contract. One is listed at $510,000. It's been on the market. It was on the market 2 days before it went under contract. The other one listed at $525,000. Was on the market 3 months before it went under contract. Over November and December, there were 2 sales. They were both only on the market 3 days. They're both 2-bedroom, 2-bath. One is about 70 square foot larger. One was listed at $465,000, sold for $459,000. The other one was listed at $545,000 and sold at their asking price. So that's almost 100. That's about 90,000 difference for basically the same size unit. They're both ground floors. The higher priced one, furnished, remodeled, but that's kind of the only difference. And that one went pretty quickly. I mean, both of them 3 days under market, but pretty big price reduction. So that was kind of interesting on that one. One sold at the end of November, and one was like mid-December. So just a few weeks between 2 of those. And they closed. And then last neighborhood is Lokahi Makai. This one's really quiet, and it tends to be, it's a smaller neighborhood. There's not as much activity in that one. There is one active listing right now for $988,000. It's been on 57 days, no price reduction, so they're holding firm. Bless you. One under contract. Started at $999,500, so just under $1 million. They went down to $899,000. They were on the market 30 days before they went under contract, so they probably came down even more. Eventually, we'll see how that one closes out next month. And then no sales for November, December. There was nothing under contract previously, September, October. So very quiet in that neighborhood. But again, just like Kohala Estates and also Leilani, the price points keep at least holding and also kind of ticking up a little bit. Not quite as much in this one as Kohala Estates, but they're not really ticking down at all.
Okay. Wow. Hey,
But-
real quick, on those three ones.
Yeah.
So in case people from, outside what's not understanding what we're looking at, some of the price points that are affected by all three of those is view. Because pool on the estates, the higher you are in that subdivision with a view, you're going to probably pay more, right, than one that might be
Sometimes it just it just depends. I mean, even some of the lower ones can have a really nice view if they're on the rim side versus on the other side of the street. In that neighborhood, it's a pretty cookie cutter neighborhood. So there's 2 bedrooms. There's 3 bedrooms and 4 bedrooms in there. Some are single family or single level, which people like. Some are 2-story, which, people are good with. And the square footage can vary a little bit. So that's a little bit towards the price point differences, but something with a view, something that's been upgraded, if they've added photovoltaic, those are all things that kind of come into,
because the Lihilani, some of those have little backyards,
the ground floors you have a little
downstairs.
bit,
Yeah. And then
And
Lakahi
then-
Makai, has the people in the back of the upper high one. They're more expensive, I think, sometimes than some of the lower ones.
that's the newer, that was like a later phase, so those are can be a little bit newer. And also if someone's remodeled or landscaped or added things like that, those are always
And so, Delaney, I had a question for you. You said how many were currently, there's only one in Ilani at the current time?
There's only one right now.
Right. And Lance, didn't we always think there was usually around, it used to be, I'm just saying this because every time I think new people need to know, there used to be 10. You know what I mean? That used to be pretty common.
Yeah. I'm looking back over past months and there's like 5, 6, 8, 3. So it's unusual to only have one. September, there was only one. The fall.
Yeah.
But yeah, it should start picking up.
Yeah. And just for people who watch our show regularly, Eric and I are thinking about going out and actually showing you guys the videos of those 3 neighborhoods. So when Delaney is talking about them, you guys could actually see like a little tour.
Or at least I can look it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just what they look like, because
It'll
they're really good bellwethers, and that's why we use them.
Yeah, because they're like little cutter ones. Yeah. Thank you, Delaney, who will also be working with us on a South Kona video pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm excited. Maybe filming tomorrow.
Yeah.
Weather
Okay,
depending.
then Andy, why don't we talk about South Hawaii? What do you got for us?
Well, I was kind of surprised when I looked at the numbers. Our sales have been slow, but it's the pricing that's really been telling the difference. So like looking this year, year to date, or, December 23 versus December 22, we had in 22, there were 10 residential sales in Ka'u, which isn't a lot considering it's one of the largest districts on the island. But in 2023, there were only 8. So a 20% drop in sales. But the reason is we've had a 57% increase in price.
Wow.
For residential. The median price in 2022 in December was $196,750. The median price in December 2023 is $309,075. So an increase of 57%, $112,325.
Wow.
So yeah, I was really kind of surprised looking at the numbers, and it continues to be a very busy area in terms of real estate. I'm kind of swamped. I'm really, really busy right now. In terms
price
of
point makes a difference.
That's it. The price point's a difference. The average days on market a year ago was 111. Now it's 40.
Ooh.
So quite a bit. The inventory is really shrinking, and sales price list price ratio 99.38%.
Wow.
You're pretty much, the sellers are going to get their ask. I've got 2 properties in contract now. We paid full bore, with no concession on the seller.
Wow.
They don't have to. Last year, there were 575 sales of single family homes in Ka'u. Now, granted, we've got a larger mix of unpermitted structures than you will find in any of the other districts, but it's the price point that's just driving the activity, because people are coming here from the mainland and they're looking at property. They're looking at property in Kona and saying, well, sure, I can get a studio condo for $369, or I can get a 3-bedroom house on an acre for $369.
Don't let that fool you guys. Make sure you watch that video we did with Andy about buying land in South Kona.
Exactly,
I mean, South Hawaii.
Now, while the residential real estate has seen kind of a significant price increase, land, on the other hand, has not. We're seeing, I mean, land median price for an acre of land was 23 grand in 2022. Now it's 18, but it's moving a lot. I move land every week. There's a lot of activity going on. And, in other parts of the island where you're able to get land at a similar price point, maybe not as much acreage, we're still seeing a lot of that move.
No, there we go. Yeah. Now, are you actually, when you're driving around out there, are you seeing a lot of people building?
Not a ton. I mean, there's actually one new construction home in my neighborhood, and there's one in the Ranchos, which is the big subdivision on the other side of the highway. That's all 3-acre properties there. There's one new construction, but generally not. I mean, a lot of people buy land and just hang on to it. They've had it forever and they're like, oh yeah, now I think we should build something on it, but not a lot.
Okay. And then in terms of the phone ringing off the hook experience, did you see a lull during the holidays, or has this been straightforward, people just looking to buy all the time?
It was slow during August and September, but after Thanksgiving, it was busy. I was been cranking and it's been really busy.
Okay. Because one thing we're talking about, Joy's going to talk about the interest rates. We were wondering if people are holding back, waiting for an interest rate drop before they'll go full bore and trying to get a house. And it's just been pretty slow in West Florida. So.
I think that the issue with the interest rates is more an issue for sellers than it is for buyers. Buyers are like, it is what it is. But sellers are like, why am I going to give up my 3 whatever interest rate to go and pick up a 6.5 or something? I did a deal in, I think it was Kuakini Mackay. They played full bore and they came from Wisconsin and they gave up a 2.87 interest rate for, I don't know, they're 7, close to 7.
Yeah.
They're both doctors, so they can do
there you
it.
go. It doesn't matter. They gave up their 2.3 interest rate to have a better life in Hawaii. That's what they did.
Well, and that's what it was. They wanted to be out by winter,
Yeah.
So I think I mean, we're seeing a lot of activity because, I mean, my phone is ringing or I'm getting emails that are saying, a lot of it is like, I saw you on the video, and then I'll get people that'll ask me about all kinds of things, and they kind of want to get all those answers before they come out here. I'm like, and I try to tell them, look, you need a vacation. Come out here and let's talk story. Because trying to get all your answers over email to make a decision about what you're going to do is a completely wrong way to do it. Come out here and experience life on the island, not just coming out here on vacation. Come out here and stay in an Airbnb and drive around neighborhoods at all different times of the day and see how far it's going to be to a grocery store. Because the benefit to being down in the South End is stuff is really reasonable. You can come out here and, and you don't have to carry a mortgage. I paid mine off 2 months ago. But a lot of people will move here without having a mortgage. But you got to say, well, it's an hour 15 to Costco, or it's this and that, or, you have to rely more on more local stuff than running into town and doing all the big box shopping.
Yeah. And you guys, if you want to know more about like life in that area, again, we've done that video. In fact, it's gotten like, Eric, 15,000 people have watched it. It's like the amount of people trying to get here on the cheap is unbelievable. So if they're willing to, like, and that's what we talked about in the video, that there's pros and cons to all the different parts of the island, and just knowing what you're getting yourself into and having your expertise and being able to share a little bit of that. And we're going to do a new video with Andy as a follow-up about we talked about like all the the bad things. He's like, oh no, let's talk about the good things too. And so
how do we do it right? Because there's ways to do it. I mean, there's lots of people that really want to get out here, and we want to help them. We don't want them to get discouraged.
Right. And we talk about there's a butt for every seat in this island. And I have a
Right.
friend that just has they're building a house at 4,000 feet in Ocean View Estates, and she gets to do all the crazy that you can't. She doesn't even want permits. She doesn't care. She's building a stone house with 30 stained glass windows. And she said the county would never let me do this. And she said, this is so fun. I love this. This is the best day ever. And so, if you have a building dream, there you go.
I want to point out this beach behind me too. Andy, I'm sure is familiar with this one down below Ranchos and all that stuff. So they've got some beautiful hidden places down there. If you know, I love it. I mean, I think that his area has got just some gorgeous places to explore and things to do. I mean, look at that beach. How many
That's
people do you see?
beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, there's
Yeah.
I went down to the one just south of Pahui Bay. Me and my buddy were the only ones on the beach,
Yeah. It's good for adventurers. We did the Road to the Sea a couple of years ago, and it's right.
God.
It's just, it's crazy. Yeah, but then they have the second green sand beach down there. So
it's the once in a lifetime road that you'll only ever do once.
We tried to go twice and it broke our truck. So okay, thanks Andy, I appreciate that. So let's hear what Joe has to say about rates and mortgages and money, and we'll also see what people think about what's going on with the rates and stuff. So Joe, give us the info.
Got it. Do you want me to go? Do you want Eric to go on?
Oh, I'm sorry, Eric, I'm sorry. So he's just seeing Eric's
That's
face.
okay. I know I'm not as cute as Amber, and I'm just filling in for it. So it's understandable how I could be forgotten in this one. So that's fine. And I've got numbers here for Puna, right? And the Puna and South Hilo is what we're talking about today. And in December of 2023, there was 56 single family homes sold, and the median sales price was $392,000. Okay, still another reasonable place on the island you can get a house for, and it was up 10% from 2022. So roughly, this year went up a good 9.48% was the rise from December 2022. And in South Hilo, there were 21 single families homed in December, and the median sales price was $478,950,000. And interesting, that was down 9%, 8.77% from December of 22. So they actually lost money during that year, which is kind of unusual. And the average days on the market in Puna was 56, and the average days in the market in South Hilo was 60. So give you an idea.
Thank you very much. And people, if you want to know more about East Hawaii specifically, Amber did do an update just last week, and it's on the YouTube channel if you want to check that out. So now, Joe, where's the money?
Right. So hopefully 2024 is going to be a better year for interest rates than 2023 was, right? Back in October, we've kind of hit our high of 8% for mortgage rates. Since then, mortgage rates have been on the decline a little bit. Right now, they're hovering around 6.5 to 6.75% on a conventional, a little bit lower on a government loan. I was reading the Fed minutes today just to kind of get an idea ahead of this meeting. So based upon reading that, the Fed anticipates 3 rate cuts for 2023. Now, or 2024, yes. So 3 rate cuts for 2024. Nobody knows necessarily when they're going to happen. Some people think it's going to happen in March. I don't necessarily think it's going to be that quick because we still need to see inflation stay under control. I do anticipate kind of May, June, July will be kind of the months where we'll see some Fed cuts. Based upon reading the minutes, they forecast, so their Fed funds rate right now is 5.25. Their hope or their forecast for 2024 is to get their Fed's fund rate to 4.6%. In 2025, they're hoping to get it to 3.6, and 2026, they're hoping to get it to 2.9%. And hopefully hover around that 2.9 to 2.5% for a Fed's fund rate is where they're hoping to get it. So again, some optimistic views based upon kind of reading what the Fed meetings have. So hopefully 24 is going to be a good year for rates. They've kind of gone down a little bit. So I think 2024 is going to be a good year for interest rates to decrease.
Very cool. That's good. That's good news.
Mhm.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of buyer demand that we get when they do get those rates down a little bit.
Joe, are you starting to see more buyers come out because of that?
You know, it's a little bit slower. Again, mortgage applications are kind of viewed week over week. Mortgage applications are up 10%, 6% purchase, 4% for refinances. So there's a slight uptick. I was reading another article today that said the magic rate for sellers to sell, right, is 5%. So
Sucks.
hopefully, right, yeah, as we kind of tick down in interest rates, I'm starting to see a little uptick, but it's still got a inventory affordability is kind of that bigger issue.
There we go. Okay. You know, I'm seeing also is people in the last 3 people that we've sold their homes for, they were selling because they weren't going to buy again. They were getting rid of their investment property. So it didn't matter to them. So
Sure.
yeah, as Lance likes to say, people have unfortunate life circumstances that happen sometimes. It also makes them sell their houses. And so there's always going to be homes that are going to go. So, you know, we're just keep hoping that when people are looking at those houses that the right thing shows up, because I know that there are buyers out there circling around looking for the thing that they really want. So yeah. Okay. Does anybody want to talk about trends that we're seeing in terms of what's happening with the island? Our airport got back up after 1 day of being shut. But it shows that our government workers are out there fixing our infrastructure as quickly as possible. But I know that speaking of the county, Lance is going to talk to us a little bit about maybe an idea that the county has been working on with short-term vacation rentals, that now they are actually coming to a what's it called, like a accumulation of actually creating a bill that's going to pass on what's happening with short-term vacation rentals. Do you want to talk about that for a little bit, Lance?
Yeah, really quick. I'm sorry because I just got, my news flash came across my screen that about the Monago Hotel. I think we all heard that it sold. They were closing it down, and we ordered pork chops to go the other day. And I drove down there and got them. And I just thing just came across that the restaurant will not be closing.
Yay!
Yeah. So Big Island Video News just came out with that. The Monago Hotel will be converted into affordable workforce rental housing, and the restaurant will not be closing. So good news all that.
Yay. Affordable rental for workforce housing, because I had heard that it's also good that they were thinking about using it for a drug rehab, homeless transition thing. So it's going to be affordable housing, like some people who just are average schmoes looking for an affordable place for a rental space. Is that's what's going to happen with that hotel?
Yeah, it says acquired. So maybe that's where it came from. Mental Health Kohala was awarded a total amount of $5.5 million from the County of Hawaii's Affordable Housing Program to acquire the Monago Hotel, with 72 market units to be converted into affordable workforce rental housing. So,
Here we go.
Yeah.
So we can still get our
pork
pork
chops.
chops.
As bad as when it first started. It didn't sound really terribly great when you first started. No restaurant, and it just kind of like.
Oh man, I was like, that thing's been around 100 years, right, Delaney? I mean, it's crazy.
Okay, so I have one too, by the way. So I'm just talking about it. There's the you guys know the Hilo Bay, it's not the Cafe 100 in Hilo. It was for sale for the last 4 months, and it's been a staple. They're the one that did a lot of the gravy and the
Loco
burger
Moco
on top.
Loco
Moco. And the woman that was selling it, she was sick. That's why she was selling it. She's gotten better. She says, I'm okay now. And they're going to keep it and keep going, because that was another one that's been going for a very, very long time. So it's nice to see traditions that don't just die so quickly.
Good. That's awesome. Great news today. It's getting better and better every minute. So now you're going to make me be the bearer of bad news, right? So
okay, let's hear it.
Okay. So we got just some position points I've been emailed. So I'm just going to kind of go over these testimony. They're going to introduce the bills on Tuesday. We're looking for people that live here to go down and testify, however you feel about it. But some of the big things that worries us a lot is it tells the host where they can and can't live on their property. So
Wait, Lance, can you give a little background of what the acronym stands for? The TAR stands for?
TAR.
Yeah, transient accommodation rentals.
And who would this affect? Is the question? Who is this bill designed? Who is the bill designed for?
It's designed to eliminate short-term rental vacations is the goal they're working towards. So they're regulating it heavily. Each year they get worse and worse with it. They told us in 2018 when they came out with the bill that everybody knows now, Bill 108. So this new TAR bill, they're actually introducing 3 bills. One bill is going to be to heavily regulate the rental market and start eliminating them as they can. The second bill is going to be to get rid of the B&B bed and breakfast and the Ohana rules. So they're gutting those two. So that's bill number 2. And then bill number 3 is going to make it very easy to build an ADU on your property. So that's the good news about it. So, but with that, and I believe in this too, is that they're going to restrict it to, it's got to be either a long-term rental or family in the ADU. No new ADUs will be allowed to be vacation rentals. So that's a good thing because you don't want residential neighborhoods turned into businesses. So, but if you want to rent out a room in your house, that's kind of where we have the problem with it, is they're regulating, if you live in the home, how you are able to rent it and what you can do. So they're telling you if, I mean, our biggest thing is like our son comes home from the military. He was just home for 28 days, It'd be nice to make some money on the side when he's gone and do a short-term rental. And then when he comes home, his room is there and it's happening, I don't have the broken down cars. I don't have the dog that followed the tenant home. A lot of people don't want to deal with that. And a big problem is the tenant landlord code is so strong that tenants have more rights than the landlords do. So a lot of people, this isn't going to do what they're designing it to do, which is a shame, and it's taking away a lot of rights for property owners. So,
it's interesting. Eric and I have an Ohana that we rent out through Furnish Finders for traveling nurses. And so it's that 36-month experience because we don't want to have a full-time person because we want to be able to have our family members come and visit us if we want. And if they do this and they make it only long-term rentals, what's going to happen to people who are on this island doing short-term work? They can't afford to go to a hotel for 3 months.
Right.
So I wonder if they're thinking about that.
So what's the whole thing? I mean, are they doing this whole thing under the guise that they want to create more affordable housing, or they want to make it, which is total BS? Because I mean, I've sold real estate this is my 3rd resort area, and they've all tried to enact something along those lines, and it's phony. It's artificial.
That's it totally. I mean, they want to put the burden of affordable housing on the homeowners, and that's not fair. That's taking away property rights.
Yeah. So they're encouraging you to build your accessory dwelling unit, and then they can tell you what you can and can't do with it.
Yeah, totally.
So
100%.
And again, like you're talking about, I've been proponent of trying to get ADUs built in Hawaii to help the housing crisis, but there's also a way to do it, and forcing homeowners to do long-term rentals in the face of this problem with the tenants having more rights than the owners. That's not helping. And I can see why not using short-term vacation rentals, because like our next door neighbor, he has very loud partying people sometimes when we live in a residential neighborhood. So I totally understand that. However, he got his mortgage based on the fact that he was going to do short-term vacation rentals and that. And as soon as they tell him he cannot do that, I don't know if he can afford his mortgage. So it's
yeah, it won't change the value of the property. It's not going to be any more affordable. Somebody that can't afford the mortgage is going to come in and do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like,
You know?
So Lance,
So,
what
You know,
what are they
and
considering
what about the auntie that has been here for generations and
Mhm.
everything's gotten so much more expensive? It's the only way that she can afford to keep her house.
right.
Yep.
I mean,
Right.
there's a
Yep.
whole lot of that. I mean,
Yeah.
for every reason that the county gives why they want to do it, there's all kinds of reasons why it's not a good idea.
Yeah. It's a vexing issue, as people used to say.
Yeah. Well, it'll just make people go underground.
That's what I was thinking. Most people just
Well-
cheat, right?
Well, and here's the next thing, right? You have to post a sign that is visible from the street that says you are a TAR. So that tells any thief or anybody driving by that you might have vacant, you might have things, people are used to coming and going that shouldn't be there. There's so many things with safety and things like that. If you're posted that you've got a room for rent in your house for short term, and it has to be legal and has to be seen from the street.
Is people are just going to go underground and not do it legally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then
You
didn't they
have to
say
do-
though that there's going to
Which
be a
means that the county's not going to
$10,000
get any
day?
of their tax revenue.
Yeah, but $10,000 a day if you get caught not following the rules.
Yeah. $10,000 a day, and part of it is monthly. You will have to do reporting, several reports that they say that has to be submitted to the county on your occupancy rate and how much money you brought in for it and things like that. So it's going to be, and if you don't do that, you're subject to $10,000 a day fines.
Lance, what are they considering a short-term rental now? They were talking about the
6 months now. So people
so
that have been
Brian-
legally doing it, it's legal that if you're over 30 days, you can do it. It will now be 180 days. So if you rent out 175 days and your neighbor rents out 180 days, he is not subject to the same rules with you. He can have tenants parking up and down the street. He doesn't have to do any reporting. He doesn't have to have a sign up front that he's got renters in there, has none of that. And if you do it, you have to have off-street parking. And again, you have to post where you're at. You have to do the reporting monthly to the county or the $10,000 a day fines. So it's scary.
Yeah, yeah.
It says it immediately makes it illegal for 30-day minimums. It immediately makes tiny homes, glamping, yurts, and mobile dwellings illegal when that passes. Forces any person, business who offers a marketplace of short-term rentals to the public to register, pay fees, and monthly reporting. Allows a director in the event of a declared emergency to initiate legislative and administrative action to restore hosted transient accommodation rental capacity to primary residents. So if we had wildfires or something like that, something terrible happened here, the volcano go off, they could tell you you're done. You can no longer do this. You've got rentals that are booked out a month from now, 2 months from now, 6 months from now. Sorry, you can't do it anymore. You're going to have to convert it to long-term rental.
That's what's happening in Maui right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what Josh Green is having to do. There 2,700 people don't have a really full place to live, so he's basically going after the homeowners that have short-term vacation rentals and saying, "Here, we got
Yeah.
a new long-term renter for you."
So one of the things I've heard is that also there's a lot of people in the East Y that have been they've been doing a lot of Airbnb on the East side because there's not a lot of accommodations at a lot of places.
Right.
I mean, that would definitely stop, and people again have been, supplementing their houses with these Airbnbs. So that'll hurt a lot of people, particularly on that side too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Go to the
you're only
volcano.
got
What's the rest of
Hilo.
Was that Andy?
No, go
Yeah.
ahead, Lance.
Okay, and Lance.
Oh, I was just saying, like people go to the volcano, what are your choices now if they eliminate all this?
Well, what's going to happen is, I mean, they're just pro hotel, so the hotels now can charge whatever they want. And we're going to have the same problems that we saw with visitors coming here saying that they were getting gouged by hotels because there's not any other competition. So you either stay at one of the fairly expensive hotels in Hilo, or not in Hilo. Well, you stay in Hilo or you stay at the expensive hotels in Volcano. But, if you want to be out kind of way down in Lower Puna, where are you going to stay? There's no place to stay.
right.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So,
And there's no infrastructure. The county's not going to do anything.
right, you're not building new hotels down there.
No.
So Lance, people can
Yes.
offer testimony on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, the 23rd. If they want to say
Yes.
something, they can go down to the, so I heard that there are 4 different spaces around the island that they're going to have a chance to go and offer testimony. The actual county people will be sitting actually in a room in Hilo. So they're that. And then, but
So
okay.
the meetings at the West Hawaii Civic Center here, okay, is where the meeting's being held. But some of the council members will be sitting, I guess, someplace in at the where they have them in Hilo. I'm not
Yeah,
sure
that's
about
what,
that.
that's what Taylor said.
Yeah. Yeah, so several won't be not present. So the best thing to do would be to show up at West Hawaii Civic Center.
Mhm.
I think the testimony scheduled for 1:30 that day on Tuesday.
Mhm.
It would be to show up there and voice your opinion there. You need to register by Monday. I've gone down and testified, and I was able to register the same day. So I'm confused on that. I don't know if that's for the Zoom, because you can testify by Zoom, you can submit writing, and you can show up in person. So I would suggest anybody that wants to do it would actually submit written and show up to do that, because a lot rides on this.
Yeah. Okay. And then also just in your estimation, because this keeps going on and on and on, do you think this is going to be the last piece of this, and then they're going to go ahead and put it into law pretty quick, like in the next 6 months? What do you think?
There's a good chance of it, because they quit listening to input. They changed it 6 times, I think, with our input, and so they've narrowed it down, and they're we'll see. I think they're bent on passing it. So and
What's the
again, I
general
understand
consensus?
they're trying to stop these ADUs from turning into vacation rentals, but they need to address that on a one-by-one basis. They need to, like I said before, like we had to sign an affidavit when we built our house that we wouldn't use our garage for a rental, which is crazy. Now they're telling me to do it. It said no rental, period. Didn't say short term or anything.
Well,
So if they're going to give out these ADU permits, they if they want to put that on there in an area, it'd be like a special permit, right? If they want to put that on there to stop the vacation rentals, then they need to do it that way, but don't take away from mom and pop that are doing it, and like you say, supplementing their income.
so they want you to build an ADU, but they want to put the law in place so you don't get all happy that you're going to have a short-term vacation rental in the back of your house.
Yep.
Okay. And they also have somebody had to get wastewater.
Yeah, you have to live up to state wastewater regulations. So you would have to be on a septic. You would have to be it'd have to be a large septic.
Mhm.
So,
And then Andy, you were going to say something about you had a
I
question.
was wondering what the general consensus is from residents and homeowners. I would think that by and large, most people want the ability to don't want to have all this regulation in place.
Yeah,
unless you live in some gated community somewhere, perhaps.
It doesn't affect you.
right. And I think the only people I witness that are really opposed to it are the people that are having a hard time. I mean, they're a pro for it, right? Are the people that are having a hard time finding an affordable rental, but they don't understand that most of these that go away are not going to be affordable rentals. It's not going to help.
No,
It's
they're
gonna
not going to be
take away
affordable.
jobs.
I mean, prices
Yeah.
just don't magically drop.
Yeah.
Because like for me, if I had a short-term vacation rental and they told me I could only do long-term, I wouldn't do it anymore.
Yes,
Because I
yeah.
have a tenant. I've had terrible tenants and I've had great tenants. Takes one. I just got a listing where it took them 9 months to get squatters out of there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had that
And
happen.
then that was in the volcano area, so I don't know. They want all the tourist revenue, but then they don't want to create housing or accommodations for tourists.
Yeah.
They want them to stay in the hotel.
Yeah.
And people are tired of staying in the hotels. They don't want maids in there daily cleaning their place. They want to have a microwave, to heat stuff up. They want to sit out in the night.
Oh, they want to experience the island. They don't want to You know,
Yeah.
I get people that call
Yeah.
me up and we want to go look at property. I'm like, well, where are you? Well, we're in Waikoloa in the resort. Well, good luck with that. You know, when you decide you want to get away from Disneyland and come down and see the rest of Hawaii, you
Yeah.
know, and where they want to, they want to go look at something that's 2.5 hour drive from Waikoloa because, quite frankly, it's pretty isolated.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Well, and then the
You
other
know-
question is this: is that we don't have enough hotel space at the end of the day. I mean, at the end of the day, we're going to get less visitors to the island as well, just by sheer nature that they're not going to have a place to stay.
Right.
What's the going rates at King Cam right now? I mean, that used to be an affordable hotel,
It's
right?
like 325. 350.
That must be Kama'aina rate, right? That's like,
But yeah, when
And during
I
high
first came
season, I think
out,
it's 400. Yeah, that used to be a
Like-
$275 hotel.
I used to stay at the Royal Kona Resort. I think the first time we came out was almost 6 years ago. It was $96.
Oh, wow.
And then it went up to like 100 and a quarter. Now I don't know. I don't know what it is.
It's at least 250.
we
Oh, yeah.
would do staycations there all the time. You know, just drive right down the road and have the kids playing on the beach all day, and we didn't have to worry about enjoying ourselves and driving home. You know, we just stayed in the hotel. It was that cheap, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and the Kona Seaside too. You look at that; they renovated that, and that's not cheap anymore. It's Pacific 19. And
No,
when
gotta-
Uncle Billy's reopens, that's not going to be cheap either. It's
Oh,
it's
no.
nothing cheap anymore about Hawaii. You know,
No.
it's so anyone who's
Hey.
watching, you want a cheap vacation, you better get going on something now and go down to East Hawaii. So I know. Well, okay. And then what we're going to do in this group is to kind of keep you guys updated. We do this once a month. So if we do have an update, we will let people know through this channel on the YouTube channel. Eric and I hope to go to see what's going on with the testimony, and maybe we'll interview Lance and the leadership while we're down there to see what's going on. But keep an eye on the channel, and we'll let you guys know. And in the meantime, call Joe. Get a loan, and contact one of these awesome realtors who spend a lot of time making sure you guys get great information. They don't get paid. They just look for your business. So thanks, guys. We appreciate you guys being here. So with that, let's clean it up, and I will see you guys. Lance is going to be doing the West Hawaii update again, beginning in February, around the 8th of February, and look forward to Delaney getting her own show tomorrow. If you guys want to learn more about South Kona, the stores, the lifestyle, everything you want to know about it. So we'll talk to you guys soon. So you guys have a good one. Thanks for joining. Aloha.
Oh, you guys.